Hi, T. Carlson here. You know that I love rock and roll, and by that extent, I love rock and roll documentaries. I just picked up one of the best rock and roll documentaries of recent years, that being The Velvet Underground. This is a documentary that premiered on Apple, I think in late 2021. I got to see an online screener of this before it came out, and I instantly fell in love with it. Great documentary with a style all its own. You may have noticed the cover art here is backwards. That is deliberate, and I guess it kind of goes along with how surreal and avant-garde a band these guys were. I'm going to unbox this release. I'll talk a little bit about the movie and share my opinions. Here's a nice close-up here. Got a picture of the band, name of the band, a Todd Haynes documentary. Right here it has band member names listed: Lou Reed, John Cale, Mo Tucker, Sterling Morrison, Nico, and of course Andy Warhol, who was sort of their manager, producer, what have you at the time. I do think it's a little insulting they didn't put Doug Yule's name on here as well, because I mean, he's as much a member of the band as anyone else, even if he did join a little later. He was actually in the group longer than some. All right, we open this up. In here we've got our disc with the Criterion C logo on it. Yellow color is probably an homage to the Andy Warhol banana cover from the Velvet Underground and Nico album. And on this side, we have our booklet. Underneath here, you just have this weird, like, grayish foil pattern. Not really sure what they were going for there. And if you open this up, it looks like an old concert poster, so that looks very cool. I'll show off a few pages in here. As usual, I'm not going to show off every single page, but there's some nice essays and photographs to be had here. Criterion always goes all out when it comes to putting out their releases, and these booklets are some of my favorite things that they have to offer when it comes to their releases. And I'll read the description of the doc that follows on the casing here. Emerging from the primordial soup of glamour, gutter sleaze, and feverish creativity that was New York's 1960s underground culture, the Velvet Underground redefined music with its at once raw and exalted blend of experimentation and art-damaged rock and roll. In his kaleidoscopic documentary, The Velvet Underground, Todd Haynes vividly evokes the band's incandescent world, the creative origins of the twin visionaries Lou Reed and John Cale, Andy Warhol's fabled Factory, and the explosive tension between pop and the avant-garde that propelled the group and ultimately consumed it. Never before seen performances, interviews, rare recordings, and mind-blowing transmissions from the era's experimental cinema scene come together in an ecstatic swirl of sound and image that is to the traditional music documentary what the Velvets were to rock. Utterly revolutionary. Now, I definitely like the music of the Velvet Underground. You've probably seen videos of me unboxing vinyl on this channel in the past. And one of the first albums I went out and bought when I started a vinyl collection, which I don't really have anymore, is the Velvet Underground and Nico album, which of course features the Andy Warhol banana artwork, the banana being removable with something underneath there as well. I always thought that was one of the most interesting and innovative album cover artworks. And of course, these guys continued making music well after their collaborations with Warhol as well. It's interesting to get into these stories, listen to these people, not only the people that were in the band, but those who knew them best as well. There's great vintage footage to be had here, a lot of new interview footage as well. And it's put together in the style of an old Andy Warhol art film. So this movie has a style all its own. It's not just some boring documentary where they throw up some vintage footage, talk, more vintage footage, talk more. I mean, this thing just reeks of style from start to finish, and that just makes me like it even more. And I think it's a very appropriate way to present this information on this band. I do love a good music documentary, and this one, for me, absolutely did not fail to please. I think anyone who's a fan of the group, or even just more casual and curious about the group, will want to check this one out. Now, as far as picture quality goes, it's pretty much the way it usually is for music documentaries. The vintage footage in a lot of cases is a little rough, whereas the newly filmed interviews actually look very nice. They've put everything together here, old and new alike, in a great way, and I don't think anything here is so bad picture quality-wise that it's not viewable or watchable. Criterion usually does a good job putting this stuff together, and I think this was compiled and put together in the best possible manner. Yes, there are going to be some vintage footage scenes that look a little rough, but overall it's a good presentation. We do get some additional features on here as well. These include a commentary track from the director and a few other people. There's also additional extended interviews with those that were interviewed for the film. And there are even, excerpts from the Andy Warhol film, some of which were seen in part in the film. So I'm happy to see that even though this is just a one-disc package, they actually did go the extra mile and get some additional footage. I do think for any fan of the group, casual or diehard, this documentary on the Velvet Underground is very easy to recommend. Are you a fan of the Velvet Underground, and did you pick up this documentary yet? What's your favorite song and album they did? Who's your favorite member? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content, because I'm always posting new videos, and make sure you like this one if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. See you next time.